Hey friends, today we're working on a good old V65 Magna. That is Honda, by the way, considered one of the fastest cruisers of its time and even today. Little fun fact for you, J. Pee Wee Gleason, they called him, one of the greatest motorcycle drag racers ever, ran a 10.9 second pass on one of these bad boys back in 1984, I believe. But anyway, I already got started on all this. We're doing a bunch of little things. I'll probably try to do a couple of different videos here. I have no idea what I'm doing, just to be honest with you guys. I mean, I'm an enthusiast, but that's about as far as that goes. You can see I pulled my plastics off already. These are a little bit damaged. You can see cracked. There's supposed to be another tab there, but you can see tabs like that. Somebody glued that one in. I got the bike cheap, so I'm not complaining. But yeah, you see those tabs there? They just pop into these here. So you don't want to do it when it's too cold. A lot more likely to break. But if you can, get them in a garage to warm them up if you're in a cold area. If it's below freezing anyway, and then gently pull them out, you should be fine. To take the seat off, put your factory key in here, and it'll unhook there. You got to make sure it's off. I think it's only on this side that it locks in. Pull the seat off. It's pretty simple if you need to get in there. But for what I'm doing today, you really don't need to do any of that. I was just doing a quick clutch bleed here. You can see how nasty that brake fluid is actually what they have in their dot 3 or 4. I can't remember what it is now. But one of the first problems I ran into is this little piece goes in there. Got to be real careful with that. This little piece sits in there. I'm just bleeding it still, so I haven't put it back in yet. But that pops in there with the circle, with the open, the hole. The hole goes into the big circle in there. Well, the 3/4 circle or whatever it is. And one of the first problems I have, I'm going to try to put this, leave this somewhere here. I'm going to clean it up before I put it back in. Is, you can see how dirty the fluid is on there. One of these screws that goes in there was all messed up. I know it's very common. I've seen it a lot on these bikes. Dot 4, there you have it. And what I actually ended up doing is find a flat screwdriver that kind of fits in there. Kind of fits in the notches, and I actually hammered it in there. And I took another screw out of an old bike that I have. But I just hammered this screwdriver actually in there. And in the process of hammering, you got to be reasonable with it. But while you're hammering it in there, it actually breaks the screw loose. It kind of loosens the screw already, and it makes it a lot easier to take out. And then I just swapped it out. But yeah, of course, you start with that. Usually they're Phillips. Pull the 2 screws off. Make sure you don't lose them. Sits on top of your handlebars. This is a hydraulic clutch. That's the reason we have to bleed them. A lot of them are like that. Like the Hayabusa here, for example, has a hydraulic clutch. I'm trying to find a quick example for you of one that's not hydraulic. And I think that the V45, I've actually got a V45 here as well. I think they use a good old cable clutch. So instead of a hydraulic, you can see this one just uses a cable, goes down to your clutch case there, and does that. But some prefer hydraulic clutches. The same with dirt bikes and stuff. My 450 there, CRF 450 Honda, has a cable clutch, but I know that my KTM 450 actually has a hydraulic clutch. I don't much care for the hydraulics. I prefer the cables for the most part, but a lot of people prefer the hydraulics. Just a little bit trickier. So when you pull that off, you can see now, I've done most of the bleeding already. There's still rust in the line, but yeah, you can see when I'm compressing it now, it used to be completely loose. It would just go right in, like nothing. There was no resistance there. Got to be careful if you do it too hard, it shoots out here. See, there's still a couple of bubbles. It's still filling in. It's working now. Now the clutch seems to be good. But what I do is I grab a little piece of hose. And actually, I'll see if I can do this without taking the hose off. Where's a good example? So here, you know how you bleed brakes. You pull that little rubber piece off. You get usually an 8mm wrench. And you put the hose, I put a hose on the end here. I put the wrench on, I put the hose on. Put the wrench in a way that you can break it loose enough to bleed it, and then tighten it again. And it's just like bleeding brakes. Oh, that thing's being stubborn now. It's just like bleeding brakes. You put your hose on. I put this in this pan here. You can see how nasty all that is. I'm going to try to bleed it some more to get all that ugly fluid out, and hopefully those lines are still okay. But yeah, you push the lever in. You push it in all the way, and then you break that loose. You pull that wrench out. And this one was a pain. I had to do it for quite a while before I started actually having any real flow happening there. But then you break it loose, and then you tighten it, and then you let go again. You tighten it, and you tighten it first, then you let go, and then you compress again, and then you break it loose again, and then you tighten it, and then you let go again. Otherwise, you're going to suck more air back in. Make sure that your little reservoir up here stays topped up. And like I say, you don't have to have a line like this, but otherwise you get fluid all over everything, and that's kind of what I did already too. I'm not sure exactly what's behind there. I'm not even sure exactly how to take that off. I'll probably do that later. But anyway, pretty simple concept, actually. I know it's kind of a random, very unorganized video. I need to get more into editing and get more organized, but hey, hope this helps somebody anyway. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything, by all means, feel free to comment. I usually get them in a couple of minutes in my emails, and I usually respond fairly fast. Yeah, hope this helps somebody. Like I said, of course, when you're done, you just reverse it. Make sure that that's all cleaned up when you put it back together. Make sure you don't forget to put that little tab in there. To be honest, I don't even know what it's for, but it was in there, so I imagine it'd be best to put it back in. And then, of course, make sure your rubber seals nice when you put it back on. Make sure this is where it should be, and put it back in there. Tighten those screws up, not too much, so the next person doesn't end up stripping them or messing up the heads or whatever later on. And yeah, you should be good to go. It's the same concept when you're bleeding brakes. It would be this one for your front brake. It'd be the same concept. Make sure you fill this one up fairly well. You have a little level in there that shows you how full it is. You don't want it too full, but full enough. And if you've got a leak, which this bike's been sitting for probably 6 years now, so I imagine, I don't know where the oil went. Hopefully it doesn't have a leak. Nothing's manifested yet, but anyway, yeah, like I said, just reverse the process when you're done. Make sure you seal this back up and put that little rubber cap back on if you can. If you don't have one, I'm sure you can get replacements cheap online. Probably don't even have to have them. I know in a lot of cases I don't even put them back on, but you should. But anyway, again, hope this helps somebody. God bless you.